So let's talk about best plants for Tennessee.
So what did I plant for sure? It's common, but an adorable plant. I'm just going to start with spring, as that seems logical, is our little moss phlox. I love the little phlox. Subulatas, they just do great ground covers. They also serve as a winter interest because they're evergreen. They're highly durable. You can get a range of colors of different kinds of pinks and blues and purples, even whites, if you decide that some of the pinks might clash with your coral azaleas. So I've got to have that. I've got a little crazy over columbines, which to me were not a huge favorite to begin with. They look delicate, but they're really not. They're tough and durable, and they reseed generously, and I love that fact. I really fell in love with one at work called Woodside Variegated, and it came to us as a golden green variegation with cobalt blue flowers.
Wow.
And as it
Sounds
reseeds
nice.
into our mulch, it comes back both gold, green, and variegated, but it's become now where it's mostly gold, but still has the cobalt blue flowers. So I took some of the seeds home and shook them around in my little woodland area, and this was the first year they really bloomed prolifically, and I'm spreading them around to other parts of the garden. And our native columbine, which I adore, because the hummingbirds love it as well, and they are very, very tough plants. That spring ephemeral kind of disappears as it gets hot, so you're going to have to start, well, then I like to go into successional gardening. Later phlox would be woodland phlox, which can be used in sun or shade, and will give you a good bloom season to take you on into the hotter days of summer. Of course, there's tons of selections for summer. I'm a big fan of the coneflowers, and I love some of the newer ones that have come out. The powwow wild berries have been very good. I know, powwow, you kind of stretch your mouth when you say it. It's a hard one to forget.
Right.
And they've been really good because some of the new colors, even though they're exciting, have not been very durable perennials for us. That's a very friendly one for wildlife. And those of us who care about the pollinators, of course, are going to add those. And everybody knows about the Rudbeckia fulgida, the black-eyed Susan, but there's a bunch of other good Rudbeckias. The Hirtas are often just annuals. They'll reseed generously, but why wouldn't one go get a pack of seeds of Rudbeckia hirta, also called Gloriosa daisy? The Trilobas, there's a bunch of other Rudbeckias that I think are valuable additions. I have a big place, not necessarily my house, a modest little home, but a big landscape and a lot of acreage. So whereas a lot of people like little plants, I like big, bold plants. I want big impact, a lot of bang for the buck. So having been a fan of the tropical look all my life, I'm going for the cannas and the elephant ears that have proven to be more perennial for me. So I have to have Bengal tiger. That's my favorite canna with that gorgeous golden striped foliage, because even when it's not in bloom, it's so beautiful. And Tropicana as well has a beautiful foliage. Both have orange blooms. Tropicana tends to get a little faded looking later in the summer, and I like to mingle those with the elephant ears. An elephant ear that I have found to be very durable, almost aggressive, is one called Illustris. And Illustris has the black leaf, and most of the black leaf forms are not perennial, but Illustris has a black leaf with a strong green vein. It's not going to get quite as big and lush as some of them, but it spreads nicely for me, and so I can move it around and put it in different parts of the garden. And just one more, it's not a perennial, but I always grow it every year from seed, would be the castor bean plant. Now, a lot of people are worried about that because it does have a poisonous bean. So be aware that if you've got kids or critters that might eat the poisonous beans, but the big red form, Carmen or Carmen.
Is they say red all summer?
Yes.
I mean, that's the fruit's kind of interesting with
It's beautiful.
with the kind of spiky, and you probably wouldn't have moles around it, I guess. With
that was the old theory. My granddaddy grew them and called them mold killer bushes. So
how about that?
do you think that plays out, or?
I don't think so. In fact, I don't even think the beans are quite as poisonous as rumored to be from recent research. You really have to eat a good number of them to be killed dead. It used to be, you thought you ate one, you were
Yeah, the ricillinic acid, I think, is the toxin.
Right. But anyway, I just want to throw that out there for people to be
sure.
cautious.
Glad
But
you did.
gosh, again, so much bang for the buck from a few seeds. Getting into fall, I'm really getting into the asters and the goldenrods that aren't terribly invasive. Again, that extends the plants for the pollinators, a lot of those butterflies that are migrating north through that time. They're migrating south in the fall. And people think of monarchs, but the sulfurs also migrate. A lot of the salvias that are late blooming, and goodness, how did I leave out salvias
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
summer?
Love salvias. Yeah.
I'm a huge salvia
Yeah.
phile, love them, and a lot of them show off well in the fall with like Mexican bush sage. And I love the combination of the old Mexican bush sage with the old autumn joy sedum. I know that's kind of an old plant and there's newer colors and exciting foliage, but the autumn joy, I love that color. They're very sturdy, and I leave them up through the winter, which we're getting into the winter,
All
for winter interest, with a little cap of snow on them. They look really good.
Ah.
Some evergreen perennials for winter interest would include the sweet flag. It's kind of a grassy. I love any of the sedges. Evergold, Everillo is particularly spectacular, a solid gold sedge. And the hellebores, which have become
Yeah.
commonplace and easy to find now, are both evergreen and winter bloomers. So that wraps us back around toward spring. And who doesn't love a few daffodils?
Yeah, that's right.
I don't like to overdo them because you got to look at that foliage for so
Yeah.
long. So I do mingle them with the other plants as well, so that I can hide the ugly foliage.
Yeah, you can put it in the back of the bed or the back of the yard.
That's right. And they do well in the woodland setting, which finally I do have a shade garden established. Which leads me back to one that's not as common, and that is, I forgot to mention the Japanese anemone, which is a really easy to grow shade lover that looks very delicate. It looks like a beautiful pink or white poppy in the woodland landscape. I'm going back again to something I meant to mention.
Sure.
And I know you love the natives, the Spigelia, Marylandica, sometimes called Indian pink. I don't like that name because there's a lot of other plants called Indian pink. And Spigelia is fun and pretty to say.
Yeah.
Used to be hard to find. You can find Spigelia pretty readily now in the landscape.
Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. To find out more information on this topic, just click on the familyplotgarden.com link in the description.